Slight height advantage for Mayweather, very slight. The reach advantage is definite for Mayweather.
Fighting out of the red corner, wearing red, official weight 146 pounds. A perfect professional record consisting of 35 bouts, 35 victories, including 24 knockouts, from Grand Rapids, Michigan. The challenger, former super featherweight world champion, former lightweight world champion, former light welterweight champion of the world, the undefeated pretty boy, Floyd Mayweather. And across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with red, official weight 145 and 1/2 pounds. An outstanding professional record, 34 victories, including 25 knockouts, only 3 defeats and 1 no contest. From Brooklyn, New York, 3-time world champion, former 2-time light welterweight champion of the world, and now the reigning, defending IBF welterweight champion of the world, Super Judah.
Okay, I can see both of your neighbors. Anything on this belt is a low blow. Keep your punches up. Obey my commands at all times. Shake hands. Good luck. Go.
Final instructions from Richard Steele. Magic Johnson's here, or as I call him, Buck, my good friend. What a crowd it is. It's a sold-out house, looks like to me. I'm Alan Massengale with David Mayo from the Grand Rapids Press, who's known Mayweather practically his entire adult and youth life.
Since he was about 9 or 10 years old.
I will make one crack, though. I will say I think his trunks were designed by Mrs. Claus. Looking beautiful with the white gloves. Here we go, round 1. Scheduled for 12.
Judah's hoping this fight is his speed. He has to be the first guy who can match Floyd Mayweather's speed. It hasn't happened before. We have to find out quickly if it can happen tonight.
Judah, of course, is a southpaw. Welterweight championship on the line. And we got 2 quick customers. Now, last time Mr. Mayo checked, it was a 5-1 favorite. Maybe we're going to 6.
About 6-1 for Mayweather. The odds fluctuated quite a bit this week. There was some pretty heavy 2-way action in the fight. Mayweather opened a little more than 5-1, dropped to 4-1, went up to 5-1, then up to 6-1. So ultimately, most of the money went on Mayweather, but there was heavy 2-way action in this fight.
Mayweather lands the first punch. A little quick left hook upstairs. Best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Floyd Mayweather Jr.
You'll notice possibly that the fighters are wearing different brands of gloves. Mayweather wears winning gloves. It's in all of his fight contracts, protect his brittle hands, which have not been a problem since he's worn the gloves. That's why he likes them. Judah's wearing Everlast.
That's been the only chink in Floyd's armor, has been the hand problem. Putting that left hand out there to measure. Zab.
For years, they kept Mayweather away from left-handers, but he has fought several of them within the last 2 or 3 years. He fought his most recent fight against Sharmba Mitchell. He fought DeMarcus Corley in 2004. Henry Brusella switched up some in 2004. Nice left hand by Judah there. And Victoriano Sosa in 2003 showed him a lot of left-handed stance. So, although he had not fought left-handers for 7 years, he's performed well against them lately.
Judah's bread and butter will be that left hand. First round is always a measuring round as each fighter assesses what he's in against. These two have known each other for years, used to be great friends. At one point I heard they would say they would never fight one another. That certainly went by the board.
part of the foundation for this fight.
Oh, tangling up here. And you can get a knee tweaked on something like that. Just two combustible balls of energy in there, ready to explode.
Well, Judah certainly stood his ground here in the first round. There's they've had a past. We'll get into it here maybe at the beginning of the second round about how this fight came about. But there aren't any secrets in there between those guys right now. And this is as good a round as anybody's had against Mayweather lately.
Water, I need water. Good? Good? Baby, you gotta be like that for the next 2 rounds, buddy. Just stay with that jab. He's scared of you now. He's scared. Listen, keep it going up and down. Keep that left. But you want to keep pushing 2 and 3 and then let that left hand go in the short hook. Don't worry about the time. He's going to walk back on the time. He's going to pull off everything.
Bring his ass out of here. Look, thing is quite smart.
That's all you got to do. He's looking to load up with the left hand.
Don't work.
We see it out the gate.
Bottom line is this. You have to fight hard because you got to get confident. You can't get confident. Don't worry about that.
Okay. Keep your composure. Just relax. Ain't nothing but the gym. That's all it is.
When you touch that ass,
Here's that first punch that Judah landed solid.
That was the best punch of the first round. Kind of landed to the throat of Mayweather, straight left hand. This is
round 2 coming up, folks.
The preface to this fight dates back a couple of years to a sparring session with a guy we saw fight earlier here tonight, Wes Ferguson, a Mayweather protege, a lightweight who hopes to climb the ranks. 2 years ago, when Mayweather was preparing to fight DeMarcus Corley and Zab Judah was preparing to fight Rafael Pineda, Judah ended up in a sparring session with Ferguson, and Mayweather thought he was a little too aggressive, thought he took advantage of the younger fight. Nice leaping left hook there by Mayweather.
That's why he's so dangerous. He could fire like a cobra.
And he told Judah as much. He was upset with Judah that he would take advantage of the younger fighter. They got into a verbal argument. A few days later, Judah's back at the gym again. Hasim Rahman is there. And he says to Mayweather, hey, aren't you training to fight a left-hander? Why don't you spar Zab? So a couple days later, they did spar. It went 4 rounds. And to hear Mayweather tell it, it was 4 rounds to nowhere for Judah. Roger Mayweather claims that he had to stop the session because Judah was taking too much punishment, and Yoel Judah wouldn't stop it. If you believe that claim, that's up to you. But the Judahs haven't been anywhere this week.
There's a slip
to say anything to counteract the claim.
And there's the background on what goes on in the world of boxing. Judah going to the body. Judah's got some quickness. As David Mayo was saying, perhaps the only fighter that can come close to Floyd Mayweather's quickness.
Judah's really established himself early in the fight. Mayweather doesn't usually start this slowly. And having seen Judah so many times in the past, they were actually roommates after they both lost in the Olympic trials when they went to the Olympic box-offs. And Mayweather came back and beat Augie Sanchez twice that year, and Zab ultimately lost to David Diaz. Nice left hand there by Judah. Excuse me, it was a right hand.
Right hand jab he's been throwing out there. He's waiting to load up on that left. And Zab Judah shocked the world tonight. He's certainly capable.
They have the one common opponent, DeMarcus Corley, against whom Judah lost a split decision in a fight when he broke his hand. I asked Corley what Judah's chances were tonight, and exactly what you said, what he would have to do to shock the world. And he said he'd have to slip Floyd a Mickey or spike his water bottle.
Well, he's looked pretty good first 2 rounds. Floyd very cautious. Lead right hand.
That's the lead right hand he lands so often against so many people, and which is generally a big weapon for a right-hander against a southpaw.
It's nice to have Mayweather back in Vegas, but he's not exactly the crowd favorite from what I'm hearing.
Well, his last 2 appearances here were 2 tough fights with Jose Luis Castillo, and he's in another roughhouse fight tonight.
That was back in 02. Castillo may have been the only guy who actually ever beaten him, but didn't show up that way in the judges' cards.
Another good round for Judah.
Judah's getting some confidence. The crowd's starting to heat up now. I wonder where Floyd Sr. is. I know De La Hoya's in training for a fight, so I know he's watching somewhere. If he's not in the building, I haven't seen him, but it's just so funny to hear Roger. He sounds just like his brother in the corner.
Well, there's no question Mayweather's become a more exciting fighter since he's been with Roger Mayweather. He's stepped up his offense, and he already had the amazing defensive skills that his father taught him, made him a more complete fighter. But tonight he has yet to turn any of that up.
Floyd going on the attack. Judah's been a good job of avoiding big punches so far. We're in round 3, and this thing's going to get real interesting real fast. I'll guarantee you that. Judah very cautiously flicking the jab out there. Floyd's back on the ropes.
Extremely tactical fight, and Mayweather's really a little reluctant to just let his hands go. He hasn't thrown many combinations.
Now they're cheering for Floyd. And now they're cheering for Judah.
Well, the money talks in this town. And he did get bet up to 6-1. So probably the majority of the people in this house have a couple dollars on Mayweather.
Left hand from Judah.
Nice counters left by Judah.
Judah fighting a very smart fight.
Every time Mayweather gets in tight, Judah grabs him. I think Mayweather might like to fight this fight in close. Even though Judah's the naturally bigger guy, I think Mayweather's probably the better in fighter. But every time he gets in there, Judah's grabbing.
Floyd missing.
More the aggressor this part of this round, at least, than he has been to any point in the fight so far, is Mayweather.
He's trying to cut off the ring. His corner was saying that Judah doesn't want to fight him. And I don't think Judah wants to get knocked out. It's what Judah's trying not to do. And he's doing a good job offensively, too, when he has opportunities. Just haven't been that many out. This is very strategic fight so far. A lot of respect for one another. You can do all the yapping and talking before a fight you want, but when it comes down to going to the office and getting down to business, all that goes out the window. Or in Zab's case, not talking. There's some of the quickness and movement from Floyd. What makes him so great is he can hit you at all kinds of angles with something on it.
To this point in the fight, you wouldn't even know that Judah had such a major disappointment against Baltimore 3 months ago.
Lack of focus, obviously. But when he is focused, he's good.
He is. Nice work up and down by Mayweather with a left hook. Better round for Mayweather.
He's starting to figure it out. Lead right.
Better round for Mayweather that time. First round I had him winning, but he didn't have the first 2 rounds.
Round 4, scheduled for 12. Welterweight championship action. Floyd Mayweather Jr., considered the best pound for pound in the world in the red trunks with the fluffy trim. Judah, they told him to let his hands go and start fighting a little more. We'll see if that strategy is going to work, because if he does open up, Mayweather will be there to counter. Nice left
Big
hand.
left hand. Probably the best shot Mayweather's taken in quite some time.
That'll get his attention if he didn't have it already. Judah's ready for this fight. Judah is more than ready for this fight.
This is Zab Judah's career. He's a club fighter if he loses this fight. He hasn't participated in the promotion. People have soured on him. He's coming off a bad loss. He's got to beat Floyd Mayweather to be a viable commodity in boxing. And if he does, of course, he's on top of the world again.
Judah's got good lateral movement, giving him that shoulder. Mayweather's not been able to land a solid punch. Judah's really focused. Now, I've never really seen Floyd get ticked off. That would be an interesting side if he does get frustrated and they actually get in there and go to war. I've seen him rip people up, like Diego Corrales when he put on a clinic here in Las Vegas a few years ago. Judah's left hand is giving him trouble.
Lead left hand from Judah. Judah turned his back and got hit in the kidney for it.
Judah shaking his head. You missed.
Wait. Keep it clean. Watch your hand.
Watch the head.
It's getting a little nasty on the inside now, Alan.
Well, you know, Judah went out and did what his corner told him to do, throw punches. He's gaining confidence. And that left hand is sitting there. He's got it cocked and loaded. And I believe he hurt Floyd for a few seconds there.
A couple of nice right hands downstairs from Mayweather. Could pay dividends later in the fight.
We're scheduled for 12. This is just round 4.
Mayweather's questioned Judah's chin openly in the days leading up to this fight and the months leading up to it. Judah was knocked down in 2 of his first 3 title fights against Jan Bergman and Teron Millette. He was knocked down. He was stopped by Costa Tszyu, of course. He was badly staggered by a fight-changing punch in the 7th round against Baltimore, but Mayweather's not been able to test that chin yet. That was the closest he got right there with that left hook.
Very interesting. He doesn't look much like a 6-1 underdog to me.
No, he doesn't.
We'll listen in. This is going to get interesting, to say the least.
He gonna run. He gonna back up. But you gotta let depth. You gotta let power go, Zach. You gotta give me 2 or 3 sequels. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, boom. Double your shots up. 2 hooks. 2 left hand.
Body shots are slowing him down. Keep touching him to the body.
And keep walking to him. You keep pressing him. He can't fight.
And take him to your left. Take him to your left.
Nice shot down the middle from Judah. That's the one that staggered Mayweather. Best shot he's taken possibly since one from Jesus Chavez in San Francisco back years ago.
I was there for that one. I believe you're right. Now we're going to round 5. Mayweather's probably a little bit behind to this guy that everybody's been looking past. You know, notice all the pre-fight talks that he's been about Judah. It's about, well, who's Mayweather going to fight next? Is it going to be Antonio Margarito? Who's down the road for him? Can he call Oscar De La Hoya out and fight him at 154? Nobody talking about Zab Judah, and Judah not talking about Judah. That's the other part.
That's the problem. Judah didn't talk about Judah. I didn't hear Mayweather saying anything about any future opponents before this fight. He was really in pretty good focus. But here we are, starting the second third of the fight now, third of the way through. Maybe behind on the scorecard. Certainly the toughest fight he's had through the first 4 rounds, probably in his professional career. Even the Castillo fight, the disputed first Castillo fight, he was way ahead and gave away several late rounds that made the fight close. But here Judah's doing a good job in the early rounds, and that's never happened to Mayweather before.
Round 5, Mayweather's still trying to find his combination in the formula. His corner likes him working on the body. They don't have a lot of respect for Judah. I'm earning more respect by the minute. Wanting them to go to the body to slow him down. But if he tries to go down there, he might find that left hand right in his face. That's the danger of sticking your head out there, because Judah's got a real wickedly quick left hand.
Well, it looked last round like Mayweather in the third round and early in the 4th, like he was beginning to get things turned completely in his favor, and then one shot kind of changed the course.
Pretty good right hand, lead right hand, which I love from Mayweather over the years. Mayweather just turned 29 in February. Judah's 28.
Step back. Let him go.
Another lead right hand. Floyd's trying to hop on him.
Well, there may be some thought in Mayweather's camp that Judah has had a tendency to fade late in some fights, including against Baltimore, that he's got a suspect chin, and that maybe this is the time he wants to start to turn it up against Zab.
Going to the body. Continually going right hand.
For the first time, Judah looks like he doesn't really know what to do with Mayweather. For the first time in the
Another
fight.
right hand and a left hook. Judah's getting hit here. Mayweather showing his greatness. Now Jab's doing something funky out there with his hands. I don't know what that's all about.
I don't either, but I don't think he does.
Now he's gone into I've lost my mind mode. He's been noted for. Now he's angry. He's just plain angry. He's got a lot of anger in him.
He does have a lot of anger. He is bleeding, apparently either from the mouth or the nose. It's hard to say. Looks like it's from the mouth. For a guy with bad stamina, or questionable stamina,
now he's talking.
Swallowing blood's not a good thing to do. Much, much better round for Mayweather. Best round of the fight for Mayweather.
But you gotta do that what you do now. He's nothing, Zab. He's not low. Zab, he's nothing. But you can't let him dominate you. He gonna pot shoot you all night. You let him get off first. When he let go, dude, come back. That's what you jab.
You give him a chance. You give him a chance. Listen, keep walking to the motherfucker like I told you. Don't stop walking. You had his ass then. Don't let the bitch get no confidence.
You cough it up. Just take your time.
Mayweather took control that round, first time in the fight. As we mentioned, Judah at times looked like he did not know what to do with Floyd. Nice lead right in the corner. Really seemed to upset Judah, and after that we saw him get angry and kind of turn it on late, but too late. There's Jay-Z, Brooklyn in the house, Sean Carter. Zab knew him when he was Sean Carter.
Zab was trying to mock Mayweather about his hands, doing his hands like that. I think that's what that whole deal is about. An angry fighter is not necessarily a good fighter. You kind of do stupid things, and Mayweather could be able to take advantage of that.
Zab called him a punk a few times during the last round. Whether that has any effect on Mayweather.
Well, there was some colorful language in there to go along with punk.
There always is in a Roger Mayweather corner, too. They told him that Roger Mayweather told Floyd, his nephew, in the corner that he doesn't have to back up from Judah, that he can come forward against this guy.
Right. Keep it clean, guys. Keep it clean.
So we'll see if Mayweather continues to try and press the attack.
There's nobody smarter than Floyd Mayweather in boxing, and he knows what he's got to do.
There's no question about it. And I mean, Zab Judah's a guy who's fought his whole career at 140 and 147. This is Mayweather's second fight at the weight. And it shows. I mean, I think Judah looks a little bit naturally bigger than Mayweather does in there, and I think he's probably a little naturally stronger than Mayweather.
Mayweather's lead right hand's been very effective. Judah has not let his hands go in this round. I think he got a healthy respect for Mayweather in round 5, even though he was calling him names, blood trickling from his mouth. Mayweather will just walk right in on you if you let him.
This has been the point in some fights where Zab tends to have a little lackadaisical period and not perform. If that's the case, we're going to have to see if he gets a second win, because you can't give away a string of rounds to Mayweather. He's the best front runner in the sport.
Round 6. Judah trying to press the attack. Mayweather grabbing his arm. That's just gamesmanship there. That's smart stuff. Judah trying to go downstairs to the body. Floyd willing to stand there and take it. Floyd trying to lure him in, I think. Tough round to score, really.
Mayweather's really pressed the fight, though. He's made the fight this round. It's more what we expected to see of him early in the fight.
Judges like the guy who forces the action. In case you just joined us, we're going down to the end of round 6 now, 10 seconds left.
Judah caught Mayweather on the end of that right hand, no effect.
Mayweather just caught Judah. That right hand is so effective.
Don't be second, be first.
You ain't got to
Keep
wait,
walking.
baby. Just keep right
walking.
down. Yeah. Just keep right
All
down.
you got to do is keep walking. Stay a little bit outside of people. Get close to them. Okay? Keep walking.
I'm trying to jab.
Don't just relax.
Just keep your right hand up. When you go in to keep your right
Keep
hand
your right hand up, Zab. He's trying to look. He's stealing shots, hook shots. That he's trying to work his jab. Then he's trying to go to the. He's trying to break your body out. Okay. Listen.
You back from him? Take your time.
Here at the end of the round, Mayweather leaped in with that lead right hand and caught Judah clean. That was after Judah had caught him on the end of a right hand that looked a little more impactful than it actually was. Mayweather was a little off balance. Judah caught him at the end of the shot. Not much on it.
Round 7, scheduled for 12 from Las Vegas, the Thomas & Mack Center. Welterweight championship of the world.
Floyd shook him a little bit with that right hand left hook combination, I think, Alan. This was the round when Baltimore near shook up Zab and turned that fight in his favor in January.
The champ is in the black trunks with the red trim. Mayweather fighting at 147 for just the second time in his career in the red trunks.
Look at Mayweather turn that. It looked like a jab, and he turned it into an uppercut underneath. You can't teach that. That's just pure acumen.
Right, step back, land up.
If you could create a fighter with all the necessary tools, it would be Floyd Mayweather. If you could start from scratch, you just say, here's the model. Judah, if he's in that corner, he's a target.
And his activity level has diminished as the rounds have progressed, Alan. He's just not letting his hands go like he was the first 3 or 4 rounds of this fight.
He's getting one upside the head. Now he sticks out his tongue. Right hand. He might want to consider getting out of there, but that's his business.
It's all Mayweather right now, Alan.
Judah tries to land a right hand. He misses by 6 inches.
It's hard to tell if he's bleeding from his tongue or inside his lip, but it's got to be having an effect on his breathing. He's definitely bleeding from his nose. With a guy, again, whose stamina is sometimes in question and whose chin is suspect, swallowing blood and breathing blood is not a good sign.
Mayweather continues to walk him down. He just keeps walking down, walking into him. Another good body shot. He's landed 3 or 4 of those this round.
When Judah does throw, it does not have the same zip it did early in the fight. Mayweather has broken him down with those body shots.
Left right hand. Big right hand from Mayweather. Set it up with a left and came back over the top with it. Judah, this fight is turned right here. Judah's going to have to counter with his left hand if he's going to do any damage. The jab is not going to get it done. And if you're going to throw the jab, you need to do it with some kind of a purpose or sense of purpose. Look at Mayweather just walking him down now. Jab up on his toes.
You make a great point, Alan. If he doesn't throw the jab with something coming behind it with an idea of setting up something, you're not going to win a jabbing fight with Floyd Mayweather. You're absolutely right. It has to be done with a particular purpose.
And he's got to put combinations together, and he's not going to win the fight with this one punch at a time routine. Final seconds of round 7, which is a big Mayweather round. He's been patient. Finally a good punch in the final second from jab.
I've got Mayweather 4 rounds to 3 after having Judah 3 rounds to 1 through 4. I think Mayweather's really picked up the pace and taken control of the fight now.
All right, but listen, you gotta let your hands go. You let you jab, you gonna hurt this kid. Let your hands go. He gonna smile, but don't let him walk you down, hit you. He gonna touch you, and he gonna go off the push off. Easy.
He's having trouble breathing.
Move forward. All right. Take the body with the right hand.
The body shots are breaking him down.
Get close.
He ain't got shit on them punches.
Get close.
He closing the gap.
Mayweather. More of the same. Right hand, left hook behind it. Whenever Zab Judah sticks his tongue out at an opponent, it's not a good sign for him. He's been tagged. It's a telltale thing that he probably doesn't even know he does. More Mayweather. It's turning into a Mayweather highlight reel here.
You hear the reaction of the crowd on the big screen when they show the
Usher. And then they showed Usher.
Well, that got a bigger reaction. Round 8. This thing has flown by. I've got David Mayo with me here. I'm Alan Massengale. It's round 8 from Las Vegas. Jab Judah in trouble. This fight has turned the last 2 rounds. Mayweather's found his range. They wanted to continue to work the body. Judah's going to have to let his hands go and try to land some big punches if he can find. The problem is finding Mayweather. You can throw them all day, but if they don't hit anything, they're no good.
And Judah, the big difference in the fight, Alan, is the first 3 or 4 rounds when Judah was really doing well and doing damage. He wasn't fighting in retreat like this. Mayweather wasn't walking him down. But he's allowed it to happen. He's not letting his hands go. He's letting Mayweather have free reign in the ring. and it's turned into a bad formula for him right now.
I tell you what, after those first 4 rounds, and you heard me say it, I said, this is not a 6-1 underdog. Now he looks like a 6-1 underdog. I mean, he was, you know what? I think he's having trouble breathing. I really do. From when they worked on him in the corner.
Zab looking toward Richard Steele. I'm not sure what he was saying. He's talking to him now, but you know, the truth is Zab, again, his stamina's been in question for years. His chin's been in question right from the time he won the title.
His brain's been in question too.
Well, that's the biggest question of all. And when you get to this point of a fight, when it's starting to turn sour against you, a brain's a terrible thing to have sometimes.
Well, he's been talking to Mayweather again. And you know what? Mayweather's just good enough to punish him. I mean, he could really make things worse for himself if it's going to turn like this, because it's already bad blood between him, and Mayweather's just good enough to say, okay, you're going to get it.
I think the blood may be having more impact on Judah than we know, too.
I really think so. I think he's having trouble. Don't you think it turned right when we started seeing the blood?
I think it did. Sometimes guys don't respond well to seeing or tasting their own blood, and he's been doing it for a number of rounds now. It's got to be affecting his breathing. You see him breathing hard through the mouth now.
Right hand, bang, bang.
He may be just.
Judah finally threw a left.
I was about to say that Judah may be just trying to survive here, but he finally lets his hands go a little bit. And a nice left hand from Judah. Best shot he's landed since early in the fight.
Here he goes. That's a nice little 10-second spurt there from Judah.
You didn't see much reaction from Mayweather, though, almost like the steam's gone from Judah's punches, and he knows it. You can't go to sleep like that, like Judah just did walking away from Mayweather. We saw it in the Arturo Gatti fight when he knocked Gatti down in the first round when Gatti was complaining and not paying attention. Judah at the end of the round got tagged right there because he wasn't looking at Mayweather.
You got to grit down. Look at me. You got to grit down. And like, breathe. 1, 2. You scared. Can't keep your hands right here. And shoot back. You shoot. Boom. You shoot.
The body shot.
Yoel's doing all the fighting.
Yoel maybe should do the fighting.
You gonna pop it up. Dig the body. When you get close, dig the body. Then bring the hook back.
He don't want no more. He don't want no more.
That bitch ready to quit.
He want to quit.
We're going to make him quit on the stool.
No, he ain't gonna quit. He gonna quit.
Here we go. Oh, that double right.
Action from the 8th round. 2 right hands in a row. It's just not many guys can land a pair of shots like that.
Nobody that I've seen lately. Floyd Mayweather, maybe. Round 9. Zab Judah being dominated the last couple of rounds, but still managed to get one good shot off at the end of round 8. We're in round 9. This thing's gone fast, hasn't it, David?
It really has. It's been an interesting fight. I think that's why it went fast, because there's been real ebb and flow, real contrast with Judah doing well early and winning, in our estimation, most of the first 4 rounds. I had him winning 3 of the first 4 rounds, but since then it's been all Mayweather. It'd be hard for Judah to get the tide turned back his way now in these last 4 rounds.
But he is capable.
And he has hurt Mayweather in this fight.
He is capable. I just think I saw his eyes. I watched him in the corner. I don't see any confidence. And I think his biggest enemy right now, aside from the best fighter in the world, is himself.
The body work Mayweather has done is really paying off now.
People don't pay enough attention to that. I love a fighter who works the body. That's what I loved about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's like he took a tree and started chopping it until it fell over, and it always paid off in the late rounds. That's why he was so dominant. Mayweather is the type of fighter, he can pretty much do what's there. He hits what's there, but he also has a game plan about what he wants to do. I like the professionalism in his corner. I like the way Roger talks to him, the way he listens. But I also know you're talking about a boxing genius. Mayweather is a boxing genius. He was born into it. You've known him all your life. And if you're going to pattern yourself after somebody who was meant to do this sport, there's nobody better. Right hand. Judah's got his gloves down now. Another right hand and backed it up. Judah's hurt.
That's twice he's nodded, but hey, those were good shots.
And Mayweather knows it. Floyd Mayweather Jr., He's one of the best closers there is. Patient, meticulous, and he's got him now. He knows it.
Richard Steele warns Mayweather about stepping on Judah's foot.
I thought that was part of the game. Step on the foot and hit him.
There's not much you can do with a right-hander and a left-hander in those situations sometimes. Judah's eye appears to be his left eye.
Do you remember in the corner that Rogers said we're going to make him quit on his stool?
Excuse me, it's his right eye. He's really puffing up badly there.
Going to make him quit on the stool, they said. Survival mode now for Judah.
I think that's exactly right, Alan. I think he's in full-fledged survival mode now.
Final 10 seconds. It was been a huge Mayweather round. He has chopped away and gotten stronger. We're going to talk about the sweet science. There's nothing sweeter than Pretty Boy Floyd.
Best there is. Best there is. And we're getting close to the point where we can start to think about maybe July 29th and Antonio Margarito right back here at Thomas and Mack.
Too much like this. Get your movement. Wow, wow, wow. If it ain't nothing but a little pretty back, let your hands go. He ain't doing no patting you though. But you just don't load up every shot. Just let some shots go. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Keep letting your hands.
Keep pressing. Keep pressing. Don't back up off his ass with the press game, okay? Touch the body. You heard that bitch. He ready to quit anyway.
What a contrast between the corners, huh?
All Mayweather. Down to the body, digging shots to the body, then working back upstairs. Consummate professional.
That's a powerful little right hand. You know, some of those punches that come from like 8 inches away, David, are some of the most deadly. And I just, folks, boxing fans, just look at the difference in the corners and the way the fighters are being approached. I don't know if yelling at jab, I guess that might be the relationship at this point, but I don't think it's going to do a lot of good. If you can give him something that gives him more confidence, that's what I think he needed. Not, you're screwing up.
Sure.
They haven't built him up this fight. Zab's got enough problems on his own to not have confidence is deadly for him.
I think that's a very good point. He's got a fragile psyche to start with. He's coming into the last 3 rounds of a championship fight against the best in the game. Maybe you want to send him out there with a little good feeling. Mayweather just working in combination, stalking his man.
Now Mayweather's really having fun. Now he's talking back. Maybe he's talking to Richard Steele. I don't know, but Mayweather is at his best. That's all I can tell you. Not to say that Judah might not be able to land that big punch. But he's still wiping his nose, which is never a good sign.
That's the first return fire we've seen of any significance from Judah in 2 rounds.
Step back. Don't hold him down. Don't hold him down.
The way this thing was setting up earlier, I thought we were going to have a bang-bang, but it's been all one way lately.
From the 5th round on, Mayweather's just teeing off on him. He's having his way now. It's a sparring session. They flash back 2 years to that little 4-round session at the top-ranked gym, and Mayweather's just wearing him out.
I believe the story now.
I do too.
Step back. Watch your head.
Judah holding on, round 10, absorbed a lot of punishment. If this keeps going this way, my question is, will he be standing at the end of round 12? Floyd's not a fighter who looks for the knockout, but he certainly can deliver it. He looks to do his job as best as he can. Nice right hand once again. We said it early and we said it late, the right hand.
Judah's face just breaking up by the minute. His father, who was a 6-time world kickboxing champion and also his trainer, I think generally thinks in these situations more like a fighter than a trainer. But he's seeing things slip away. I don't see a formula right now for Judah to get back in the fight. I think it'd be difficult. It'd be difficult to tell anyone that there is one, and you got to wonder how long Yoel Judah lets this go. Oh, it's a
low blow, big low blow, big low blow. I knew that was coming.
The great equalizer, Alan. The great equalizer. That was an extremely low shot. Mayweather does not appear able to put any weight on his left leg. Roger Mayweather and Yoel Judah in the ring, a fight breaking out between the trainers. This is a horrible sight, Alan. One of the ugliest sights you'll ever see in boxing right here.
This is bad news, folks. This is bad news. And I hope the crowd doesn't go nuts because I'm going under the table. We've got beer being thrown around the arena. It's complete mayhem in there. That's why the police are here. They know how to break these things up. I love the Las Vegas police. And they're telling the crowd, don't you even think about coming up here. All hell has broken loose here at the Thomas & Mack. After a low blow, Roger Mayweather came out, met across the ring by Yoel.
If Roger Mayweather came out there first, Alan, there could very easily be a scenario where you could justify a disqualification against Floyd Mayweather for getting hit low.
And the shame of it is Roger had no business up there because his fight is over. This fight has been won if it continues. I don't know what the decision. I didn't hear a buffer. It's Mark Ratner of the Nevada Athletic Commission.
Seems to be a lot of confusion here. Ratner was in Judah's corner.
That was one of the worst low blows I've ever seen.
Oh, it was a horrible low blow. It looked intentional. It's a, you know, sometimes a professional fighter will do that, Alan.
Hey, he needs to get out. Floyd Mayweather will receive a 5-minute rest period.
The rule on this, Alan, Mayweather has 5 minutes to recover from this. If he is not able to recover and continue, he loses the fight on a low blow against him.
That's exactly right. And I'm thinking there's going to be some sanctions and serious fines for these corners. Suspension, certainly.
You see Leonard Ellerby in there, one of Mayweather's chief advisors, grabbing Yoel Judah, trying to pull him away from it. Just one of the ugliest scenes you'll ever see.
Yeah, it was instigated, I believe, by Roger. There's the problem when your own blood is in there fighting too.
The ring will be cleared. The fight will resume. We have a 5-minute.
You got to resume it because you got too many tickets out there. You know what I'm saying?
Bodies flying all over the ring.
And I was afraid. They did a great job with crowd control. This one officer up here just looked at some people and said, don't even think about coming up
I
here.
saw that. It was right in front
He
of us.
said, don't even think about it.
And you're right. Las Vegas Metro did the job there. Floyd's already ready. He had 5 minutes, but he decided not to use them.
They're going to clear the ring.
I'm not even sure how much time there was left here in the 10th round when this incident occurred.
Richard Steele is imploring Judah to use his head. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see another low blow. Anything can happen now. Judah.
There's still multiple personnel from the commission in the ring.
Judah kind of lost it. That was an intentional low blow.
It certainly appeared to be.
It finally boiled over. You can't go that far south unless you mean it.
Especially when you're that far behind in the fight. It's an equalizer that a professional will use from time to time. And I think Zab used it.
5 seconds left.
5 seconds left in the 10th round. So Mayweather will get a minute break. And that's the end of 10. What a wild moment.
Well, this is my 21st year covering boxing, and that was one of the top highlighted moments I've ever seen in terms of absolute chaos. It's right up there with Tyson biting Holyfield's ear.
The last one anyway. Give me the water.
Right up there with the paraglider coming to the ring.
The paraglider, Bo Holyfield, yes.
Keep you composed. We got no. You ain't
That's the closest I've ever come to seeing an arena absolutely go nuts. And the police, if they hadn't been here, that's why Vegas is so good at this.
3 minutes. You will give over. Stop, jab, move your head. Push the hold over your tie. Run them all.
Winning the fight easy, I know. And give it a shot and deliver. That's all you have to do.
It's two rounds. Take 2 rounds. You can take 2 rounds.
Judah thinking it was the last round, which it's not. It's the 11th. And you have to say, Roger Mayweather, at the end of the day, totally lost his composure there in the 10th round. That just can't happen when your guy's walking away with a big fight, gets fouled, that you just lose your composure and as a trainer working the corner of a fight of this magnitude.
And I'm shocked that he did it. I was just talking about how professional they've been over there. I think it had a lot to do with being an uncle, being your blood in there and seeing him intentionally hit below the belt like that. It's the closest, you know. I don't think I'd ever see Freddie Roach or anybody pull something like that. It's just not in his nature.
I think that's a valid point.
We're in the 11th round. A fight dominated in the late rounds by Floyd Mayweather Jr. He is a professional, and he will do what he has to do, no matter what Judah comes up with. Judah's always had a little bit of a head case, and certainly showed it once again in the 10th round. Remember, this is a guy who once punched a referee, Jay Nady. So, threw a chair.
Mayweather certainly isn't on the offensive streak he was before the low blow.
That was a bad situation he was in there. That hurt.
It was a bad low blow. He could not even bear weight on his left leg. And then before he knows it, Bedlam's breaking out around him.
Punch and get out. Pull your arms back. Punch and get out.
Roger's priority should have been to make sure Floyd was okay.
Absolutely, and he should have done it without going into the ring.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens after the fight if something breaks out.
That and what the commission decides to do to handle the situation. And as you mentioned, there's going to be fines and sanctions from that.
Now, I never know what's in Judah's mind, but here in the 11th round, he's actually been putting up some kind of a fight. There's that Mayweather right hand.
Judah may actually be winning the round.
I think Floyd's toying with him, hitting him on the belt line. I really do.
He has hit him right on the belt a couple times.
I'm impressed with Floyd's composure. He may be losing this round, but he's got plenty left for the 12th. We will have a 12th round.
A better round for Judah, and yet you have to believe Mayweather did enough.
Well, I'm hoping that they've called the reinforcements too, in case things get wild in here.
Keep taking him to the left.
I would have stopped him.
Yeah, listen. You're just looking for a way out, but don't worry about that. Go back to doing what you're doing. Whatever you're doing, this all right. No.
Jab, you can jab, you got.
You work too hard.
You work too hard, Zab. I'm telling you right now.
Great, baby. That's right.
Tell you right now. Too hard, baby.
Last and final round.
Hold his water.
You're looking for a way out. That's all.
You heard Mayweather say he wants to stop Judah, and you saw Yoel Judah whisper something into Zab's ear, and Zab dipped his head. Yoel said, "You've worked too hard, you've worked too hard." You have to think that he told Zab honestly, "You're losing this fight on the scorecard."
Well, that's more back to what I expected from Mayweather's corner. Final round, folks. Say, you know what? Don't do anything stupid. Go fight your fight, get a decision, and get the hell out of here. You don't have to deal with this guy anymore. Mayweather, undefeated in his brilliant career. One of the finer performances of his career. Judah needs a knockout.
You could even argue, Alan, that this is
nice left hand from Judah.
That this is the first time in Mayweather's career that he ever faced adversity in a fight and then turned it around and won going away. Against Castillo, obviously, that wasn't the formula of those fights, either one of them. But in this fight, in my estimation, I don't know about yours, I thought he was down 3 rounds to 1 after 4 and hasn't lost a round since.
That's about the way I had it. I saw 2 or 3 different Judas in the ring tonight.
Good point. And I think there are 2 or 3 different Judas.
There's only one Mayweather. It's very smart on Mayweather's part. He got hit there early in this round, but Judah, I don't know what he's thinking, but he better start unloading if he wants to have any shot.
Half of the 12th round left for Floyd Mayweather to stake his claim to a 4th world championship in less than 10 years as a professional fighter. He'd be the first in history to do it.
If you could tell me why Judah's up on his toes and circling backwards in this situation, I'd appreciate it.
I think that maybe he just wants to get this last minute under his belt, Alan. He's got to let his hands go. He's got to knock Mayweather out. And of course, he may be winning this round, but Mayweather's not going to give him much of a target here.
35 seconds left in the fight. Floyd says, come on. Hit me, come on. Well, now he's toying. He wants to embarrass him. Now he wants to embarrass him.
Well, he's been through a bit of a rough night. He lost some early rounds. He got hit way south of the border and it ended up in a brawl. And all the bad blood that boiled over before this fight boiled over again during the fight. The rivalry is real, folks.
I wouldn't mind seeing it again just for the story. Floyd did a good job there.
Excellent performance by Floyd Mayweather, virtuoso.
Well, just from a story standpoint, to see him do it again, but I doubt it'll happen. Floyd's not going to give him a rematch. Too many people heading toward the ring, and I don't know why.
I had it 117, 111.
Folks in either. They're not letting our announcer get into the ring. I'm with Bill Kaplan.
Jerry Roth, 117, 111. Glenn Hamada, 119, 109 to the winner by unanimous decision, and new champion, still undefeated from Grand Rapids, Michigan, Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather.
Let's take a look at it starting from round 3. We're going to see different Judas. This is the good Judah. Didn't look like an underdog. But here comes Mayweather back toward the end of that round. Once again, look at that, Judah. That was an accomplished fighter right there. Working the jab and following with the left, and then it disappeared, and here comes Mayweather. Now you see him sticking his tongue out, standing in the corner. A lot of steam had come out of him. Of course, the credit goes to Mayweather for landing body shots and being patient. There's the domination later on by Mayweather. Round 10. This is one of the worst low blows I've ever seen. That one came from Cancun somewhere, and Roger Mayweather lost it. Richard tried to hold him out. Here comes Judah's trainer. And in the end, Floyd wanted to embarrass him. So come on, hit me. That's round 12. Floyd actually sat in the corner. He wanted to take Judah out.
We're here with Floyd Mayweather. Congratulations, Floyd. First, your thoughts on becoming the first fighter in history to win 4 world titles in less than 10 years as a professional.
Oh, it feels great. I mean, I got, God-given talent. Without God, all this would be impossible. I got a great team behind me. I feel good. It's just that I felt I would have got him out of there in the late rounds, but it was a big competition. If you have noticed, that's when I started pressing harder.
Early in the fight, obviously, was probably the first time in your career that you've ever lost rounds early of your own, not of your own volition, because someone else was doing something to take rounds away from you. What was happening there early?
That was our game plan. We know Zab Judah is a front runner. We're going to take our time, keep our composure, and stick to the game plan. And, you know, if we didn't have no problems, the fight wouldn't have went the distance.
Tell us about the body work, Floyd. It's a little underrated, how you broke him down to the body.
Well, I knew he was going to come out. He's a headhunter. I'm the type of guy that like to go to the body. So I took my time, broke him down, listened to my corner, listened to Roger, listened to Leonard and Raphael. Just stuck to the game plan, not get big-headed and just taking my time.
Talk about the ugly incident, Floyd, in the 10th round, the low blow. You could barely bear weight on your left leg, and then all hell breaks loose around you.
Well, Roger said he knew Zab was going to do something dirty in the fight. Eventually, if, you know, once the pressure started getting on, and it happened.
Is the rivalry now over, or is it as big as it ever was, given the nature of some of the circumstances that happened tonight?
I don't know. You know, I mean, I don't hate Zab. Like I said before, this is a business. I'm here to sell the fights and give the fans entertaining fights. That's what I'm here to do.
You haven't talked much, Floyd, about what you want to do next, but there's a date reserved here, July 29th for Antonio Margarito. Do you have interest in that fight?
You know, I just want to talk it over with my team. You know, right now what we focusing on is taking care of business. You know, I'm taking care of business. The inside, they're going to take care of it on the outside. We don't know. It may be Margarito, it may be De La Hoya, it may be Shane Mosley. We don't know, but right now our eyes is towards De La Hoya.
One more thing, Floyd. Were you surprised early by his punching power? It looked like he might have caught you and hurt you in the first couple of rounds.
He didn't hurt me. I wasn't shocked at all. I knew Zab was a good puncher, but it didn't hurt me. You know, it just made me get on my game plan, just stay relaxed. I knew what Zab was going to do.
Any surprises from Judah as far as some of the dirty tactics and things that he tried?
Well, this is part of boxing. These things happen in boxing. I don't hate Zab. I mean, I got good sportsmanship. You know, when another guy's doing something, I don't mean I got to do it. Two wrongs don't make a right. So things happen in the sport of boxing.
Floyd Mayweather, 36-0. Congratulations, Floyd.
Thank you.